Tom and Dan to tell you about our buddies at Precision Garage Door. We both use them. They're awesome. You got to get that Tom and Dan silent package.
Yep, it's basically a Wi-Fi motor. They come and put little plastic sleeves on all the rollers on your door, so it's completely silent, so it's not this big rattling door anymore.
They balance it. Yeah. They do all the services for all of your garage door needs.
Yep, call this number, 407-710-BDMS. That's 407-710-BDMS, and that's how they know that it came from us. And if you need a whole new garage door, like a complete new one, you can get 5% off. Just tell them Tom and Dan.
And they cover all of Central Florida, including Gainesville, Point Siena. I mean, they're getting bigger as they go.
It's Precision Garage Door of Central Florida. Give them a call. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I'm Dan, and you look like mad or something.
No.
Okay, all right.
Well, that's what Travis...
Uh-oh.
So
something's wrong, Sam. Oh, Sam's
Nothing's
here.
Wrong.
Hi. Sam's here, Butler's here, the Fish are here. We're here. It's a Monday. Hanging out with you. The chat room's here. Twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live if you'd like to watch us live and find those video replays on YouTube.
So, anyway, and I think I know what's happening
What's
here.
happening?
Is that I have this new thing where I'm trying to optimize my time and mentality for my entire day, right? And so what I mean by that
I wasn't paying attention. Can you
Stop.
Okay.
Is that when I'm at work, I want to try to get as much done as possible.
Yeah.
Like literally every second.
So when you're at work, do work.
Yeah.
And when you're at home,
concept.
play hard.
or stop working with this and then focus on the other things I want to do. But basically, kind of like Samantha's been yelling at me, setting boundaries or whatever it is.
Well, she has two categories. One is she's just yelling at you. And the other is she's yelling at you about boundaries.
Yeah. Which, of course, I need to. I never
But you
had
should set a boundary and tell me to stop yelling at you.
No. Because I like
he needs
the input.
That yell. That's the worst thing you could do is to give you a boundary. You need to overstep your boundaries.
All right.
Because I also like to listen to what people are telling me because they obviously...
that's news to me.
Whether I'm doing anything about it is different. But I do I
receive the information.
I receive the information, and if I receive it enough from enough people, I'm like, well, this must be true. Because
right.
Because now it's coming.
People are telling me about it.
Yeah, it's coming from 5 different humans from around me.
It's been sourced to a point of percentages, right?
Because just coming from one human at one time, it could be an emotional response. It could be based on nothing or some sort of emotion, and then I deem that as less important or less valuable to me.
What's the magic number? How many times do you have to be told something before you actually go, maybe I should look into this?
Well, it all...
3 is the magic number.
I don't think that's it.
Anyway, I forgot my original...
Yes,
you like to work as much as you can when you're here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So
when you work hard, and when you play even harder.
Make
Tom
that a
Van,
shirt.
Yeah.
So
if you can't run with the Tom Van, stay on the porch.
So when I got here this morning, and it's been like this for the past couple of weeks, I think after the event is when because that event, I was working so much at home.
It sucked a lot of life out of you, yeah.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff after hours, and it was putting wear and tear on Crystal, and just because I'm always looking at my phone or answering some emails, and I'm always telling her I just need to get this one thing, and I realized I can't just do that to my family, and so I got to
you can.
be better.
It's just not good to do that to
right.
Yeah. So then when I get here, I'm I just got to get as much done as humanly possible. That way, when I leave, then I can truly feel I didn't leave anything left.
It does break down, though. I feel like it breaks down the discord or the relationship or the dialogue here. If when you come in, you're just I have to go into go mode because you come into your own little shell.
Yeah, then everybody's what's wrong with this guy?
Well, then we're not talking at all. And then I think part of where we excel as a team is when we communicate. And I think you have gotten used to wanting to come in and just go head down. And that's fine. But I don't think that is the best way to be. But
it is not.
It's whatever you want to do, man. Do you.
No. No, I've realized I've gone too far into this. And
to the extremes.
And I can't do that because that, therefore, is causing everybody to For instance, this just happened.
What happened?
Where I'm sitting there and you guys came in here to do this, and I'm writing an
We're in
email.
here singing karaoke.
I'm looking at.
We were arguably in here effing around.
Yeah.
Which is not a good look
Oh,
when
you're
you're
just
in.
waiting for
Yeah,
Tom
well,
to
if
be
he's
ready.
in there like writing an email and we're in here singing Duncan Chic, which I believe we were, not good. Not
So I must have made Travis nervous with all this laser focus, not talking.
good. Well, you've been planning his exit for months now.
So because Travis,
Isn't that what you were working on?
He's like, hey boss, I've noticed you've been, you've been really concentrating on
I can't
something,
even-
which basically tells me he's like, freaked out or something like that.
Does he say "Hey, boss" to you?
He does that
when
to me
he's worried he's
sometimes, too.
getting
He's gotta
fired.
Stop that. He's got to stop that. I hate it.
Yeah, and
How you
then
doing, boss? Don't do that.
so then I was like, that's when I realized like I've been too focused and not like in my own bubble in my shell, just doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm making Travis worried, and then everybody else probably is like, "What's wrong with this grumpy
Well, I think
a-hole?"
I'll just ask you. So you know my MO. Like you know how I work. I'll be like, "You mad at me?" You're like, "No, you're an idiot," or like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "Okay." Like I did it right, and then I'm like, "All right." He just wants to be in a shell. He's a turtle man.
This is why I think Travis is effing with me because he's like, "Hey, boss, I noticed you've been, super focused and like, concerned about something lately." And then I was like, "Oh yeah." So I took my glasses off, leaned back, and I was like, "I gotta start a conversation
Casual
with him."
mode.
And then I'm like, "No, I'm just." And then I started reviewing what I'm doing. Like I'm just writing an email to this, and then Jeff's like, "I gotta take this call." In the middle of like, he interrupted.
Your heart out, and then it's like my wife's calling me.
He's like, "Hey, I noticed. I'm concerned about what are you
He's not that
focusing on?"
concerned.
And then, yeah, exactly. Then I'm like, "Are you effing with me, bro? Are you effing with me?"
Oh no! I hope that call was important.
Did you get anything out at all? Like, did you pour any of your feelings out?
Well, the call's about his wife locked herself out of the house, and he's explaining how to crawl through the window.
Oh my god!
Wait a minute. That doesn't sound like her.
Well, yeah, it's for sure Travis's fault.
it
Like
is
he
for
didn't
sure.
put the key under the rock or something. Something happened. Anyway, I was like,
God.
stop. Let me stop my boss from what he's doing to tell him that I'm concerned about his stress level.
Hold on a second. This is something more important.
Just one moment, boss.
That's a weird swerve. Yeah, that was weird. Did he say anything afterwards? Did he apologize or anything? Or did you guys just both go your separate ways? Never to talk about it again.
Then I'm like,
well, that's what's weird about it is that he didn't come back later and be like,
Right,
hey,
resume the
really sorry about
conversation.
that. So what's going on, man? Butler, get in here. Why didn't you follow up?
Well, because he was still
on the phone when Tom came in here to record.
Yeah, I was leaving the bathroom when he's like, "You crawling through the window? Don't." He's like, "Watch out for the cat food."
Watch out for the cat food.
You got a cat?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I locked my wife out of the house.
So it was your fault.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot to leave the emergency key.
Now, it's funny that I guessed that exactly right. How did I?
Yeah.
Well, you felt
It's almost like I
you
know
did the
this
math.
guy.
You got the
You did the
goods.
math.
That's
Felt
right.
it. You felt it in your business bones.
Yeah.
So how are we going to repair this friendship?
No. We don't
We don't
Friendship?
share it? No friendship?
So-
did I overstepped my bounds?
Yeah.
How mad does your wife get at you when you do make a mistake?
And now she's got to crawl through.
Yeah, because I've done
At
this
least she's
too.
athletic, it's not like she's a chungus or something. It's not like she's incapable.
Is she cool with it? Is she?
Well, she was just happy I told her which window was open. I was like, this window doesn't lock very well.
Oh,
Go
hold
to
on.
this
happy?
one.
Hold on, write that down.
I'll tell you the level of trouble I'd be in if I caused my wife to be locked out of the house and she had to then crawl in through a window or whatever.
Well, you floated my wife's car down the road. She had to crawl in her car through the back.
That was an accident.
Well, I don't think Butler did this on
Yeah,
purpose.
again, I feel like you guys have you're a lot
do,
more alike
yeah.
than you are different.
Here's my wife perceives it as if I keep making the same accident over and over after she's told me
Like a child going poo-poo in his diaper.
Then at a certain point, it must be on purpose. Like it must be as a personal attack.
It's
a personal attack at a certain point. Yeah, it's like every time I clomp dirt through the house, after the 50th time.
And you don't think I take it like a personal attack here?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But
Now, I don't, right? I don't.
well,
I really, just to put you at ease.
emotionally, it's an attack.
No, emotionally, I don't like it. But I certainly don't think you're doing it to make me mad. Does that make sense? I have never, ever, ever, ever. Am I getting too serious?
No.
I have never thought that you have ever, when I've repeatedly told you, don't clump month through the studio, don't leave cups everywhere.
I don't think he does it on purpose, but it is still maddening.
Oh, it's maddening.
Yeah.
Well, that is that's a different show. Is it maddening? Well, tune in next week. But right now, I'm telling you, I do not believe that you do it just to make me mad.
No, yeah. No, if you thought that, it would be real bad, because then it would be I'm an insane person. Like, I literally, I step in mud and I'm like, I'm clumping today.
No, I'm going to make him crazy.
You want to know how crazy it is? To put it in perspective for the listeners that don't understand, he could be clumping through the studio just walking to get a Mountain Dew, and I could go, oh man, you're clumping, and he wouldn't even hear me say, oh man, you're clumping. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not even there.
Yeah. It's that's bad. Anyway. So how mad does your wife get, Travis? Is she yell at you at all?
No, I mean,
she
almost 20 years together, we kind of, it's a lot of give and take.
I think you got yelled at yesterday. Did you get yelled at yesterday when I was pulling my scooter in?
No.
Okay, I thought you were being yelled at. Everybody here, I feel like, gets yelled at on the phone except for me and Sam.
If you're
my husband never calls me during work hours.
No, me neither.
You guys all have your spouses.
You two get yelled at a lot.
Yeah.
Both of you. That's what I'm saying. You're more alike.
I don't think Travis gets yelled at.
I think he does.
No.
I'm like a battered wife, though. I'm like, I deserve it.
Well, he does the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't get any folk. I don't have any friends. I get home. I'm like, hello. It's like nobody there. Hello, please.
So is like she's gonna like get into the house and whatever, and there's gonna be a continued conversation about this. Is
there a mess?
What, from her breaking in the house or what?
Yeah, did you leave a mess? Like, how did it happen? You just didn't put the emergency key back.
So long story short, she had a back tire issue on her car. She had to drop it off at the Hyundai dealership, which isn't too far away from the house, and so she walked home from the Hyundai dealership
and didn't bring her house key. So that's partially on her.
And I walked home from the Hyundai dealership. You guys are poor.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Why don't you have some sort of Wi-Fi lock or a garage door or something?
I want to do that. Yeah.
I don't trust those anymore.
I am poor.
I don't trust them
because like everything is now app controlled and is becoming real. Like I have, which is weird because I'm an old pop mainly because of Crystal. Like most of the things in my house are controlled by Alexa or an app or whatever. My garage door, my pool.
I have like one light in my garage door. That's about it.
Almost every light in the house.
Are they but do they work perfectly? Because
yeah.
The ones I have, I got just lights on, lights out. That stuff is just wonky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah. Sometimes it turns itself on. Sometimes the percentages of the dimmer is like at 40%. I'm like, maximum percentage. And they'll go to it and then it'll dim back down. It's weird.
I mean, there's some.
It's not 100%. Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, it's 95.
I mean,
it's pretty damn good.
I hate to be this guy, but I'm
cheaper.
I'm just okay with a switch. I'm just like, there's my light. All right, we're good.
Well, voice control, it does. I have my thermostat, the Nest and stuff. Like, there are like advantages to it, and I was like you, Daniel. I was like, who cares? I'll just use a switch. But I mean, you start yelling at Alexa to turn on and off different things. Like, pretty good. You end up using it and finding it like way more convenient, especially with the boys. Like, you turn off their lights and on or whatever.
That's cool.
Anyway, so I'm curious.
In every room, you are fancy. I don't.
Those kids never have to walk anywhere. They don't have to turn off their own lights.
I swear to God,
Alexa, turn off
I got none of that, man.
$20 or whatever.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm just. I got none of that. Like if you couldn't live in my house, like everything is just like regular.
I got the fancy lights. That's it.
I wish I did. I need that. I want the one behind the TV that lights up, that matches your TV. Whatever's on the TV, it matches the ambiance. I want that. I want the sound system in the walls that's hidden. I want I want it all. But I don't do it. I don't know why. My wife has an appointment today to, and maybe this will get me in the step in your direction, Tom, because honestly, I want it. We're going to finally repair the Ethernet terminals in the house. Remember the guy that owned it before me, the crazy guy, he just went in there and yanked all the wires out or cut them with scissors and ruined it. So they're going to rewire the house, and it's not going to be cheap. But they're going to rewire the whole house so I can have not only Wi-Fi, but I can have, for stuff I like to plug in, like Xbox and stuff I like powered and like corded. I'm gonna cord some stuff in so I can make it rocket fast.
Is that the like cording it is way faster than the Wi-Fi?
It's more stable.
It's more stable, yeah. And it's consistently, if you're just getting it straight from the source, it's not going to be degraded by Wi-Fi at all. There are other people jumping on there. But yeah, it'll be more helpful. We're doing it for her office because it looks like she won't be going back in very... I think a lot of people are going to be doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, well, got to upgrade this thing because...
Well, the proof was when the businesses realized it was cheaper and they made just as much money. And that was when they're never going back. Like, if you're looking at it, you're like, well, I made the same amount and I saved on this building and all the insurance and everything, the cost that associates with running a building. I'll have all my employees work from home. Yeah, like it doesn't make any business sense.
Well, like,
as long as they can still be as productive.
And
right?
Wi-Fi is so important to us because if you think about it, the two main things my wife uses Wi-Fi for at the house are her job and her exercise for the Peloton.
Yeah.
Both of those she wants, hardwired. So we're finally going to upgrade. We're trying to be smart about putting money into things that we think we'll use, which I think you've been very smart in investing in the convenience and the in your house. Like it's smart to do that. Yeah, it's not like we're spending less time there. We're spending more time there. So I'm trying to kind of get where you're at with that kind of stuff. And then the next thing, and I know people are going to laugh, but the next thing is to actually get my TV mounted on the wall, hide all the cables behind the wall, get a designated like AV area where everything is organized and all my cables look perfect like Matt Mormon. That's on the list. Like we have a list of things that Andrea has that is like, number one is to get this cat whatever. I don't even know, but I'm also old school. It's like cat 5 to me, and there's like saying like cat 6, cat 7. We're gonna get the internet or the Ethernet fixed in the house, wired to every room. Then next up is making sure that we get her office squared away.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start building like, they'll start with the Wi-Fi, but like in the Bahamas or these like very remote areas.
Such a good idea.
You're like, you need Wi-Fi because even in some of these small ski towns and stuff, I'm talking to locals and stuff. They're talking about how many more people will move there and how much more expensive it'll get as soon as they upgrade their Wi-Fi. Because a lot of these small towns don't have the best.
Yeah.
And people, that will be the deciding factor to moving there as soon as they know they can work from home and have a secured fast Wi-Fi. So I'm sure builders are even looking at like an area that's remote that you could build a community for people just to live and work from home, and you have to have fast Wi-Fi first, and then I'm sure communities will be starting building up just based on Wi-Fi first.
Yeah. Well, there's guys
and location. You walk in your house, the
network
beach or whatever.
infrastructure. Yeah.
There's articles that I've been seeing posted, or at least one article posted about. I thought you were going to talk about the idea that these people are coming up with for like these. They're almost like extended stay vacation work homes, where it's like you're in an exotic location, but like you're saying, it's an office area. So you get to work and do your job from almost like an exotic, like let's say Caribbean location with great Wi-Fi and conductivity, but at the same time, you're able to like hit the beach afterwards when you're done with what you need to do. Now you pay a premium to stay there, but it's almost like you're getting both your vacation and and working, and it's for families that mom or dad might have to hit the computer, but everybody else can hit the pool, but they can all do it together. I was like, that's a pretty decent idea.
That's great
because you're going to get more and more people doing it. So they're going to start building out. You're going to start seeing these kind of tacked onto resorts, and then eventually they think you will eventually see resorts that are all for that. And it would, of course, be more of a family-style thing, but, for bloggers, for influencers, they need Wi-Fi. They need offices.
Here's another thing, too, for people that work from home or can work from home, but are looking to mix it up, and, like, they're starting these basically facilities that have like a gym and some like a cafe, like some restaurants, like one-off satellite
court,
like a satellite restaurants or whatever. But and then just a bunch of areas you could just sit on your laptop and work. And there's like a gym nearby. There's like childcare. So you could bring your kids for a couple hours. They could watch your kids. You go to the gym. Lunch is there, and it's just a place you could sit, comfortable area with a laptop. And then you pay a membership membership fee so you can go there whenever you want. Like that makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of malls, because you start looking at like, all right, what the hell are they going to turn the malls into? I mean, a lot of them have been turning into residential condos and like using the parking lots,
retirement communities and stuff. Yeah, I've seen that.
But I bet you they're air conditioned inside.
Drone racetrack.
yeah.
Right? We need more drone racetracks.
Just put a gym and some other stuff and some childcare and turn them into a place to work from satellite.
If I were rich, I would buy one and I would model it specifically after the level on Tony Hawk's Skater. And I would open it, I would make it, I would hire actors to act like, security guards, and you could come there. It would be a skateboard theme park themed after that level.
Problem is, young skateboard punks don't have any money.
No.
You know who has got money?
But their parents do.
Yeah, that's true.
We could see a lot of Land Rovers in the parking lot, That would be nice. They're dropping them off. We'd have to have a lot of, people like Butler running around, policing them, telling them to stop picking on each other and fighting. It's a bad idea.
And then it's like, back to my having LED TV screens in every window of your house so that you look out and it's a 4K view of the ocean, but it's just there's nothing. You're living in nowhere like Nebraska, but you're looking at
somebody outside getting killed.
I wonder if we'll start moving into that once all real views of the ocean are taken up by people moving there, and and then you'll start having LED fake views of the ocean that your brain. It'll release somewhat of the similar
when do we
chemicals.
Get to a point where we have used that fake view so much that it does nothing, right?
It's probably just like the real view. Like, if you look out your window and you see a beautiful, ocean, after years, I'm sure it diminishes now to, it doesn't give you the same effect.
Would we be better suited, and would our personalities be, our moods be better if we open these windows instead of keeping them closed?
With just sunlight.
How do you have it at your house? When you guys are home, are your windows open so you can see out?
What do you think for me?
Well, for you, I think there's
it's like a goddamn cave at my house.
I like windows. I like to be able to look out of my windows.
Yeah.
My shades are open, and if the weather's nice enough, the windows are actually open.
Me too. I'm weird.
I do that on the weekends sometimes, but most of the time, when I get home, all the windows are drawn.
Yeah,
nobody's looking at my house.
You do that move, guy running from FBI.
Yeah.
Every single window, and then you just look out.
Peek out the one blind.
You're also hiding in the bathroom with the judge on your lap.
Then everybody who pulls in your driveway just to turn around and do your turn, you're like, who is that?
Oh my God.
You're like, why is that person doing that?
I'll never forget that. One
Hide
time
under
I
the
was
window.
cooking chicken wings on my gas grill at my original house, the little house over here off of Karen, and I had gotten too high. This is earlier on, and way too high, and I heard one siren, and I ran inside, jumped on the bed, and hid, I hid under pillows, and I had to tell Andrea to go turn the grill off. I was like, I can't go back out there. They're looking for
see me.
I was like, they're looking for me. I was like, you got to turn the grill off.
That's a problem.
She didn't know how to turn the grill off, so I think she just let it roll. And I just
burn out.
Cooked the bones, man. Cook the bones.
Oh man, I did that. Damn it.
Did you cook the bones?
Yeah, when Turkey Leg was over, we cooked those T-bone steaks. Remember?
Hell yeah.
And then I must have left the grill on. And it threw me off because I'm used to having company over the house. So I when I grill, it's very rare. But I have the system where I turn off the gas from underneath the grill.
You should.
And then I let it burn out, and then I turn the burners off.
That's correct. My God! Oh my God! He does it right. Yeah, you're supposed to turn it off at the source, so it burns the gas out of the line.
So anyway,
that's the only thing I know that you do properly.
I must have not done that. And because people, the Turkey Leg distracted me or whatever. I was like, I'm cooking these steaks.
Stupid Turkey Leg.
And then, so the next day, I'm trying to heat my pool with the gas heater. And I'm like, it smells like propane out here. I'm like, the gas heater must be broken. And then
I want to light this cigarette.
And then I go to the grill and it's on. And then I'm like, oh, God. And the
hot.
Tank's empty.
Red hot.
No, it must have, I just literally left it for 24 hours.
Burned it all night like JFK's Eternal Flame.
Yeah.
It's the Castleberry Eternal Flame.
Is that connected to your Big Thompson, or is this a little guy?
Oh, no, big. Oh,
Big
yeah. I probably burned $150 of gas.
I was like, at least it was a small one.
I'd be literally burning money.
And then now, because you're not supposed to let it go completely empty, they have to send a tech out to
He's the only one that can do it.
To make sure that something's not broken. I guess
sucks.
No. But then I fill it up. It's my fault.
It'll be fine. Thompson gas.
That's that's what marijuana. I'm blaming it does make you
forget.
Wait a minute,
is it turkey leg or marijuana?
It's probably more the marijuana.
Yeah.
And then also, you get used to doing a certain routine, and then anything that throws you off like an old man, and then you're screaming in the hospital because you don't know where you're at. That's what happens. Literally, the older you get, the more set in your ways you get, and as soon as someone throws a wrench in that, you're screwed. That's why I constantly try to do chaos a little bit, because I don't want to become so old set in my ways after 20 years that I cannot get out of it, Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha and Butler are here. I would like to remind you that I tidy up all of our live Twitch broadcasts. I edit them, color correct them, add little things to them if need be, and I replay them on YouTube. And you can check out our YouTube page. Just search Tom and Dan Live. It's really, really good. There's all of our Swervey Jones cartoons, hundreds of cartoons on there, hundreds of shows on there, all the content, any guests that we've had in here, comedian interviews. It's a really good YouTube channel. Again, Tom and Dan Live.
Cool. Let's, what email do we got?
Okay, this is about our app, the Tom and Dan app. Hello. You guys are my favorite podcast to listen to. Thank you for all the content.
Next email.
I listen to my BDM shows the least due to the app. Is there any chance you can update it to work with Bluetooth earbud commands such as pause play feature?
Oh, that would be a nice one.
It would be nice if it worked with a 10 or 30 second advance and rewind feature too, but the pause and play would be most helpful. Also, the app seems to crash and freeze a lot and not hold my place on an episode. I tend to screenshot it to help keep track myself. I don't know if you've made any updates since I last used the app, so my list that causes it to freeze might be outdated. I do have a Galaxy Note 10 Plus and usually download the episodes. I know a listener called in saying after a phone call the app starts playing automatically, same with a timer. Sorry this is long, please know I only wish you all the best and appreciate all you guys are doing.
See, what I'm hearing is we're close.
So,
no, she's sweet. Thank you for your email. Hey, and thanks for actually going into detail, because that's exactly what I need.
Yes.
Yeah, and also, you may have an easier time. Okay, this is the truth about the app is, and this is becoming a thing, apparently, from more, like, people we've talked to and app builders.
Well, from our perspective, certainly, in our business.
So, what's happening is that Apple and Google are making things and like stipulations for apps in their platform.
Yeah, and they're adding
and
it's a lot of good stuff. They're adding a lot of functionality. Your screens are getting more vivid and better. But with all of that, it does change the amount of things that we have to check off before our app is compliant,
yes.
before our app is good. Yes. So yeah, these are great things. This isn't like they're not doing, I don't believe they're doing this in any way to like try and make our lives terrible, but yeah, as technology marches on and things, functionality gets better, they're going to want us to add and be, compliant to what they want.
Yes, and the problem is that for small companies like ourselves, it's expensive to try to make our app compliant, and it's becoming more and more expensive to the point where it's seemingly like they're pushing out all the small companies that have apps, right? And then wanting to just do, because it's easier, like, for them, as far than having a bunch of companies have apps out there that may not be exactly standard to all what they want. They're going to want a uniformity, which I understand, but it does then, it kind of pushes out all the small guys and then makes, the big companies that can have a team that constantly updates their app to work with all the different phones.
Yeah, like we have to do ours in batches. I would love for us to be the type of app that we could do monthly updates. Like always tweaking, always massaging it. Because that really is how you get a great app.
It's thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. And then so you were running into that problem. So then with every new phone, there's a new this phone has a little different screen, so your app has to be compliant with this phone. If you're not compliant, we're going to boot you out of there. If you try to do an update and this isn't on there, then we're not going to approve you.
Yeah, well, and they check to make sure everything on your app works. If you have something on there that might be a little hard for them to understand, they'll flag it and say, hey, that doesn't look right.
So my advice to people, if they're listening to our regular shows, non-BDM shows, because that's the problem, is we don't have an easy way besides our own app for BDMs to listen to BDM content besides the website, right? We finally spent a bunch of money to be able to have, this was years ago, but the BDM shows on our app. So now if you're listening to regular shows, obviously you can go through Apple Podcasts or Google Play, and then their app works pretty damn good because there you go, billions.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of those work really well.
You can't listen to BDM shows, so we're working on it now. But believe me, we started about a month ago looking into
Spotify.
All this.
We're on Spotify. I never say that. We're on Stitcher. Anywhere. We're on all those aggregators.
So with those, their pause button and their functionality is going to be better. They have $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to just make it functionality.
But behind the
best
scenes,
as possible.
we're working on some things. We love the company we're working with now. We've reached out to other people that might have additional knowledge. We've reached out to other podcasters that we know to kind of see how they're doing it. So yeah, we're definitely getting there, and we're going to figure something out that's a little bit better. We haven't forgotten about you guys. It's just I wish the process was faster, and that's the thing is I get bummed out that I can't give this lady, she is so kind to send that email because she took time. It's a long ass email. She took 20 minutes.
And she was nice. She wasn't,
Well, she was awesome to take time out of her day to help our show.
Yeah,
that's awesome, and thank you.
We may have to figure out a different way in the future to distribute the BDM shows or work around. We'll look into it, but just like everything, when everything explodes onto the market, like apps did and stuff, and then there's always a some period where they try to clean it up, and I think they're in that area now. It just sucks because guess who gets hurt first? The little guy. Just like everything.
And you're seeing it with even Google. I know on the Android side of things, they've always been a little more loose when it comes to apps and stuff like that. But as they continue to get bigger and as they continue to embrace podcasting the way that Apple did from jump, they're even tightening up things as well. At the end of the day, they are businesses and they want uniformity across their platforms, and I can certainly understand that.
And they also can do anything they want because it's a monopoly between Android and Apple. They control the phone business.
Yeah, we're pretty much just there.
There's very little other competition, right? Everybody's got an Apple or Android phone. So when the whole world has
I wouldn't even know where you'd go to get something other than that.
So a company could be like, well, screw you. Either comply or you're not allowed to have an app. And to some small businesses, that's their only business. So if they're not able to comply,
what's Wordabug's going to do?
These regulation, it's then you're out of business because it's $5,000 a month to hire a team to comply with all the new rules. And if you can't do that, then that's it. Then you can't. But they'll say, well, you can still be in business. You just can't have an app. And then you're like, well, that's my whole business,
right.
So it's sketchy.
But we'll give you the honesty. We'll tell you exactly what we're up
working
against.
On solutions.
We're working on solutions. So we got a couple irons in the fire. We'll see how they pan out.
This one is about Tom's porn calendar. Hey,
okay,
TND.
we get too many of these.
Well, that tells me other people
exactly, and it happened to this guy. He says, "Hey TND, I was on a site and this popped up. I'm guessing Tom clicked it. Hopefully, this helps get rid of the porn dates on his calendar."
Does this look
so?
familiar?
A little pop up comes up that
Put
says,
it on the camera.
Add calendar subscription. Would you like to subscribe to? Click OK to continue.
That looks like something you might have breezed through, right? Because it looks official.
I don't know. I don't know. No, well, also,
individual events in subscription calendars cannot be deleted. You can remove calendar subscriptions in calendar or settings. So you have to go in and manually remove the subscription setting.
And you might want to change your background screen to not be picture of Annabelle Danger. Very odd.
Yes.
He's got a problem.
I definitely clicked on one of these things by accident. Obviously, to get it.
I like beer. That's what I heard.
We know.
That's what I heard. We're open,
Me, it's Tinky, Little Joe,
Pete, Sideways Johnny.
We all like beer.
Yeah, Randy Rascals, he was there as well. Occasionally, even Charlotte would stop by. She was okay. Lesbian.
Yeah. So I got to go in my settings and change. It's funny. We're at the bank and Crystal.
What, you just couldn't stop looking at porn.
Oh man!
But
oh my god,
Crystal,
turn your volume down.
This is taking too long.
I was going through my phone and she's like, "You know how many things you got open?" And I was terrified. She was like scrolling up to like delete. I was waiting for
black.com.
I was waiting for something.
Do you know how many times I want to steal the beginning of a black.com video and put it at the beginning of one of our daily videos where it just says, "Do you have a big penis?" And then nobody's seen that? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I know you have. You just didn't want to admit it.
I clicked on it.
It's on his calendar.
You can steal it though. You can steal everything.
There's no rules there.
No one's gonna nothing.
Yeah, I know. There's no rules there.
The internet. Yeah, there's
and that whole category of porn is eating itself because it's racist. Yeah, it's amazing.
What else was that?
Cruising. I heard you on the radio this morning talking with the cruise director. You mentioned you would like to cruise on a fast ship that serves alcohol. The Key West Express out of Fort Myers to Key West is an awesome ride you should look into.
That sounds like something.
It's a high-speed catamaran.
Yeah, high-speed catamaran with Tom and Dan.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I went on one of these. Remember, we had a partnership in the radio days with a company, and then there's a high-speed catamaran that went from West Palm Beach.
High-speed catamaran.
To the Bahamas, and it
wasn't it sketchy?
It's not what you'd imagine.
Were you terrified?
No,
was your wife? Somebody I thought didn't like it.
It's imagine. I'm trying to think. Imagine the megabus on skis.
It's the funniest thing.
This would be a great go-to show.
Yeah.
Dude, we got to do it.
It's the megabus on skis. Now a little nicer because you're like, you're going
drinks.
You're going to the Bahamas and not Tallahassee or whatever.
Oh my god, that's the funniest thing you've ever said.
But there's a lot of you could just put all your luggage in the back, but just there's no rhyme or reason. Just put it.
Is it hauling ass?
It gets up there, but it doesn't go that fast. So it's not like you're in some high-speed train.
I want like yang, 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 yang. I want like that turn down for what video where that bald man goes smashing into the side of it.
No, it's not that fast because it's still it's like a big-ass boat. It's kind of like, imagine... remember the boat I got married on? It's like...
He always has to mix that into conversation and knock me down a peg.
It's like something like that, but it just has a bunch of bus seats. Like the bigger,
all right.
And then the bottom, and then it has like...
Is there rum punch?
It has a bar.
Yes, all right.
And like a food and drink thing where you can get like a bag of Cheetos and like 151, a screwdriver. Screwdriver to Michelob Ultra.
I'll take one bag of your Gardettos and 2 Bahama Mamas, please.
Yeah. And so...
It reaches an average cruising speed of 34 knots.
Yeah.
That goes.
That's like 35 miles an hour.
That's
like
moving.
It's faster than, like what you would be in any other like ferry or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a high speed ferry.
Yeah, that's basically what it looks like.
Which is a punchline to one of the pop-up shows.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure my dad told me the one about the high speed ferry.
And so
which is also what he called Jeff Gordon.
It's like a lot of things where you think it sounds super fancy and you think it's going to be super fancy, and then when you're on it, you're like, oh yeah, it's not
that fancy.
It's only $60 a ticket. Of course, it's not that fancy.
Well, boats. Yeah. Like if in order to be fancy, the boat needs to be owned by you.
Yes,
if you're on the boat, it's not fancy. You're either a prisoner, you're on a Carnival cruise, or you're on this thing that Tom is saying not fancy. Name a fancy boat. Most cruises are not even really.
There's two fancy boats. You own it yourself, or you're chartering it. That's a difference.
Charter a yacht.
Yeah. Or a fishing boat or something.
Well, sometimes we've chartered fishing boats before, and it's we pay money to these guys and they're a-holes to us because we can't bait anything, and then they refer to us as like some sort of gay landlubber. They're mean, and they think we're effeminate because we're just not fish people. I just don't know how to do this, man. I didn't grow up in the ocean. Why are you belittling me?
If you go to the high, that's a low tier charter.
I've never had a good charter.
That's the low tier. Yeah, they do higher tier charters.
I've never had anything good.
You start, you're paying $5,000 for the day, and then that's where you get.
Oh, they do everything.
Yeah. That's where they're not making fun of you. The ones you're paying $1,300 with you and 10 for your college buddies. Do you
want a fun fact?
They're calling you gay.
Exactly. Do you want a fun fact? Yeah. And this even goes for a White Claw fishing boat. I have never been on somebody's boat or a charter to go deep sea fishing where the guy that was supposed to show up as the assistant was the same guy as the guy he said was coming. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Because it's hard to find first mates because they're all on Oxycontin.
Yes, thank you. They are all on Oxycontin. Every single time a captain has told me, "Oh, my buddy X is coming. He'll be helping out for the day." It's never that guy. It's "Oh, we had to call Steve at the last minute."
Because that guy's getting tips and then basically gets to kind of fish for the day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically all he's getting. Maybe,
and he's mad at you the whole time because he's baiting your hook. He's cleaning up your mess.
Yeah.
And because now it's like the diesel fuel and those things are so expensive, especially up here. Like you have to go out, and we're calling it deep sea. It's offshore technically, but you're going out so far, they're burning $250 worth of diesel fuel, and then
they don't want you out there.
So it's like with the you're paying off the thing, the bait, the other, you have some ice, and then all of a sudden like the captain's making $300, and then the owner of the boat that's not a captain's boat, like someone else owns that, or a company owns it and they use it, those things are insanely expensive.
Except the airboat captain we met who pulled up at the.
It gets smaller.
That guy was a better job because he pulled up in his convertible Beamer. He got out. He looked like Ron White. And he just got out and he walked over to whatever airboat was the one he was piloting for the day. It wasn't his.
No, that's because
that guy was awesome.
What is it? What is that place called?
The River Ranch.
The
Westgate River Ranch.
Corporation. They just hire a local guy that knows how to drive.
He had the best job I've ever seen.
There are private cruise ships. They're not like they're probably they're like a size of a Tiger Woods yacht, or like I'm saying, like a yacht, private yachts that you could rent out with like you and 20 friends or whatever. But it's insane, like $50,000 or like $80,000 for whatever.
That sounds awesome.
But it's that experience. You get to live like a rich
like the
person.
Private chef.
Yes.
Well, then you're like that show. What is it? Below Deck or whatever.
Yeah. And there's different versions of that. Yeah. It's all smaller, because yachts are. I forgot what they only have to be a certain foot like vessel to be considered a yacht, and some of them you could rent out all of them, and like come with a crew or whatever, and like you could live like that, but it's insanely expensive. Like obviously, we're talking like $50,000.
That's insane. What else you got for emails?
Okay, this one says softball and Jimmy Buffett. Hey, gang, I heard Daniel making the distinction of old versus new Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, there is a distinction.
I 100% agree, Dan. Old Jimmy Buffett is some good stuff. Don't sleep on A Pirate Looks at 40 or Come Monday.
Yeah, those are great songs.
I don't know those. Secondly, I heard Sam's plan to crash Little League games. Sam, try gay softball. Way more fun than some boring-ass kids. They have games every Sunday at Lake Fairview, and it is a drag queen / tailgate crazy and a lot of fun. That does sound like fun. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, I would go to that.
All right.
Do they really play? That'd be fun as hell.
He says every Sunday.
I miss the brunch at Bananas. I haven't been out to do nothing. I used to love going to see them on roller skates.
The brunches are coming back.
Yeah, man.
They're open, baby.
I like that kind of stuff.
Did you play baseball or anything as a
Was
kid.
never a baseball guy. Went right to soccer. I was all about the soccer.
I cannot hit a ball with a bat. I didn't grow up playing.
Is that even in the neighborhood?
I don't believe that. You're pretty good at sports.
No.
In Miami?
No.
I do not believe that. Is it like the skipping thing? Is it in that category?
It just I never developed that coordination, that hand-eye with a baseball and a ball.
Like, I played softball at
football.
church, and my dad played in our Trinity United Methodist Church. They had a softball league. My dad played in that. I would hang out. He played in that for years. We'd hit, I've hit a ball, but I wouldn't say I'm in any way, shape, or form good at it.
I was pretty good when I was a kid.
I'm not good.
But I didn't play for any team. We would just play in the neighborhood, like the neighborhood kids.
But if you go to batting cages, you could swing and hit it. Yeah,
I went last year.
The timing, I'd never developed the right timing
Glasses
to be
or
able
no
to hit.
Glasses?
Huh?
Did you have your glasses on?
No. Well, this is a year. My whole life
is over your life.
Well, even I remember we go to batting cages in 20s and college or whatever. I could never hit the ball. Maybe I get lucky once, but it never. I would swing too late or too early or whatever it is. The timing was all off. I didn't develop the skill hitting. We never played baseball growing up. Even as a kid, it was always football in the streets or soccer. But never baseball.
Football. We did football in the streets, and then normally we do Dungeons and Dragons in the sheets.
I don't even remember baseball being a. Although you'd think in Miami there would be.
That's why I was
a big thing.
confused.
It was big at DeLand. We were all about baseball, man.
My friends
Stetson was a great baseball team. DeLand
and when
High had a
you're
great
poor,
baseball
you can
team.
play baseball with anything. Tennis ball and a stick.
Yeah, but we went into skateboarding and punk rock and that. You know what I'm saying?
But when you were little?
When I was little, it was football and soccer. It never.
We played football and baseball and basketball.
I didn't have a baseball glove. Maybe it was because
Nobody had gloves.
I
You
had
just
a glove.
catch it with your hand.
No, my dad bought me a glove and he oiled it and then he wrapped it up. We put the ball in. He wrapped it with the rubber bands and then he would play catch with me.
Yeah. My dad died, so he maybe we missed that. I was 10 years old, so
maybe he had the glove with the ball in it wrapped up on the boat.
We didn't have any of that. Baseball glove catch. Yeah,
why'd you bring that up, Sam? My God.
No, I just
Apologies. But I do want to go see this drag queen softball. I'm in.
But I'm so confident. I think I could hit more.
Let's go to the batting cages
than
for
Samantha
a show.
could.
Let's do it.
Well, that's not fun. Why don't you try and hit more than Butler, who already said via text to me that he's a better baseball player?
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did. And he also said the reason your fingers on your right hand are black is because your baseball glove's too loose.
Butler, did you play baseball?
Of course he did.
They didn't have baseball in Britain.
Virginia.
Virginia.
They don't have British baseball.
British baseball.
They got this stupid weird thing
Cricket.
with the flat. Yeah. That's what they got.
Let's do a cricket off.
No, that's something I've never even seen that before. I've never seen that on purpose.
Flat, right?
Yeah.
The bat is flat, like the one
Like
that
a
you're
paddle.
supposed to hit frat boys on their butts with when you're having a little bit of horseplay.
I've never seen a cricket field or anybody even hit a ball with a cricket bat.
I did in the Bahamas. There was a cricket match going on when I was touring a pirate museum.
I was
more pissed that I was at the pirate museum because I wanted to go watch cricket because it looked more fun. They had beers and they were sitting there watching these guys and they were all dressed up really nice. And they were playing, and I remember everybody's mad at me because I wanted everybody to go to this pirate museum, and it sucked.
Norm has a batting cage right down the street from him. Let's go meet up with Norm.
What's the bet?
Wait, is Norm going to stand there and take them all directly into his ginormous gunt?
If who can hit the most balls at the same mile an hour?
What's the winner get? Deep sea fishing trip.
I don't even want that.
I don't either. Nobody wants that. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Every time I've been on deep sea fishing, it takes too long. I need a TikTok version, 15 seconds.
You need the Key West Express to take you out there.
I need it fast. Every time I'm out there, this is taking too long.
You had to grow up. It's like baseball. You had to grow up playing it to appreciate it. If you didn't, you're not going to like it.
It's just every time I go, and then I don't think I've ever been out there like everyone's, oh man, we were deep sea fishing. Look, I caught this marlin. I've been out deep sea deep-sea fishing maybe 9-10 times. I don't think I've ever caught anything other than stinky flounder, some garbage. Like some old...
All the marlin are dead. They're all dead.
One mahi-mahi, about the size of a sandwich. Great job.
Yeah, you're not catching anything. They fish those out. They're all dead. Like all those giant prize fish, you see, yeah, they're dead.
And then right about the time that I'm doing it, and I got my line, and we're doing it, we'll go someplace else. We've been doing it a little bit more, and they do it, and then I'm like, we're not
hard.
doing nothing.
Yeah. You have to grow up doing it's like hunting. If you didn't grow up hunting, it'd be hard for you to get into it as an adult. It's nostalgia.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen a friend of mine that later in life he turned like 40 and he's like, you know what?
I think that's called the Freddy.
Is that what he's doing? Like, I'm going to try hunting.
All of a sudden, he's a redneck in Geneva.
Yeah, but I feel like he had a redneck family. Like, so there's something in there.
Is it in the blood at all there? It's got to be in the blood.
My dad, I think you have to do it because my dad was a hunter, but I was too young. I never went out hunting.
No, my dad wasn't a hunter.
But I was around it, like hogs.
A lot of these generational hunters bring their young kids, like when they're young, they start like teaching them how to hunt.
Yeah.
I was an early...
I think my dad was like,
my dad...
guy, he's not good up for it.
My dad...
He's going to marry a woman that loves animals.
See it in his eyes. He's going to marry one that's soft for the old puppies. Yeah, no, I remember my dad was just a ski boatman. He was just a party ski boatman. So I was always on our ski boat. That's it.
Yeah. It's whatever you grow up doing, most likely that's where you...
I watched my dad do drugs and get drunk every day.
Yeah.
This checks out.
Yeah.
Because it's like anything. Like, a lot of this stuff isn't fun unless you have nostalgia attached to it, right? Because the actual act... Like, even, golf. If you don't know how to play golf, you didn't grow up playing golf... Miserable. Then going out there because you're not good at it is hard. You're
you're just hiking,
and you have to pray. Yeah, you're just walking around hitting balls into the water, into the woods, or whiffing them. Driving on. Maybe you like driving the golf cart, getting drunk. Like that's part of it. But the actual playing the golf, if you don't know how to do it, it's not fun. Because you're not good at it. And so the same thing with if you didn't grow up hunting or fishing. Think about bass fishing. You're just going out on a river or lake
with no breeze,
and a lot of the time you're just casting and catching nothing, right? You have to be good. You have to get good at it. And so if you don't have any nostalgia, that brings back memories of happiness.
I have terrible nostalgia about fishing. I hated fishing.
The parks. I didn't I went to the parks a little bit growing up, but not that much. So I don't have the nostalgia for the theme park. So it's miserable to me.
Right. Yeah,
so when I go there,
that totally makes sense.
All I see is the on paper standing in long ass lines with the sea of humanity that stinks, and I don't want to be there. So I'm like, but if you have nostalgia attached to it, it brings you happiness. Right. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Playing pool. If you didn't you don't know how to play, you didn't grow up playing pool. It's not fun for you.
Okay, when you and I played pool in Colorado, I enjoyed that. Because I grew up playing pool.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to test the theory. I grew up playing it at my buddy David Smith's house. Absolutely. And to this day, if you put a pool table next to a jukebox, I'm game because he had it. His mom has, I hope Gail still has this. She had a classic jukebox from the 50s that they didn't redo it. They let it patina, and then they would update the records and then change the little things in there. And I loved it, dude. I loved it. You just and it was real records. It wasn't CDs. It was so awesome.
So there's a lot, and a lot of this stuff
off there for a second.
You have to just sit around and do there's a lot of doing nothing involved with it. So fishing, hunting, it's a lot of just waiting, and then with that comes the drinking or the whatever, or hanging out with your buddies. Yeah,
I like being.
And no waste time.
Yeah, but then it's all right. Well, do you like hunting or do you like drinking in the woods with your buddies
with a gun?
Yeah, with a gun. Shooting the gun at animals.
Let's do that.
Because then now you're.
Okay. I don't know. The woods got me scared right now.
I like getting drunk and shooting my gun at animals. All right, well, now we're talking.
Sometimes, if you said, "Hey, you want to go in the woods and drink beer and shoot guns?" I'd be like, "Yeah." If you said you want to go hunting, I'd be like, that's boring.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, right. But it's the way you frame it.
Yeah, it's all in how you frame it.
But then there's different levels. The guys that are really into it have the full deal. They're up in the tree by themselves. They've been out there for 18 hours waiting, Then it's the guys that just go out, drink beer with guns, and shoot at things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our Twitch chat room, Abraham Dragonfriend says, I judge someone by their ability to take a fish off a hook.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not. I won't say I'm good at it. I can do it, but I would prefer to have the.
If you
glove.
never learned, how are you going to?
I would prefer to have the glove, so I don't have to hold it a certain way to keep its spines from going into my hand.
I got a hook in the thumb when I was a kid,
and I don't want to go hook out of its mouth. I prefer to just take like a cleaver and lop its head off, and then just throw the hook line and the whole. I would prefer just to pitch the rod into the ocean and get a new one from my quiver.
You know what I never got good at is when they swallowed the hook. And then it's all just wrapped up. I'm like, this thing is dead, bro. Like I can't. And then I'm like, And then
where it's inside?
Yeah. Like where it's, if it's not in their
you gotta
fish
keep
mouth,
pulling until everything goes back.
But then I'm just
fishing is terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible.
Because like at that point, I'm just like, well, I'm cutting it and leaving it inside. Well, it'll rust out or it's dead or whatever.
You put it in a cooler and then you shut it and you keep the light in there so you don't have to witness it and you just pull it straight out. You see what I'm saying? It's like
yeah. But then there's a real men that can do it and like save the fish with little damage. And I'm like, wow.
Like, hold on, it's wrapped around its small intestines.
But that's the thing. Like, how can you judge someone if they didn't grow up fishing? Of course, they don't know how to take a hook out of a fish's mouth or whatever. Yeah. Like, why would you judge them? Like, if you didn't grow up doing that, you're not going to know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. It's like,
well, maybe you don't want to know how to do it. Like my dad, I'm pretty sure my dad tried to show me a bunch of times. I was like, this is gross.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even think I like it.
Right.
I think fish are kind of terrible.
But also, it's if you're
eat them.
If you're not getting enjoyment, because really, it's not. There's a certain excitement level catching a fish, reeling it in, like you're not knowing it's a surprise. Like I understand the psychology behind it. It's kind of like gambling. You're like a lot of like pulling the slot machine wheel, and you lose a lot. But that one time you win, it's super exciting.
Felt great.
But you've lost hundreds of dollars. You won 20, but you only remember the 20, right? So you've been out there for hours and you caught one fish, but that one fish, you remember that. You don't remember the hours of nothing.
Yeah, I don't remember the hours of being miserable on the ski boat. I remember the fun I had skiing with my dad. You're right.
And then it's a hard thing to do. So then you catch it. It's like you take a picture with it. It's like, oh, I got some excitement. But not worth it. 4 hours of casting. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really put it on paper, you'd have to grow up doing it, I think, to get optimal enjoyment.
I think you're right. Yeah. Now, look, we're at a crossroads here. Shall we continue? We can. I say power through
because we're doing this for Tuesday. We do have to pork.
We're doing good on emails. I mean, unless you want to save the 10, we can go bye now.
God, I can't make a decision.
I'll do it. Bye.
Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
Dan, Samantha, Travis, all of the folks that you know.
Let's do a voice message?
Yeah, voice messages. You can leave us voicemail messages, 1-844-TOMNDAN. That's 1-844-TOM, the letter N, Dan. And I will check those. I check that about every week. And then most of our messages come through our app. You can find that wherever you download apps. Let's go with, this is a good one.
Hey guys, BDM Jake from Tampa here. I was curious to hear your thoughts on what the hell the point of vibrating beds in motel rooms was all about. Like, it was always something that was sleazy and seemingly sexual related, but I don't fully understand what the hell the point was. Curious to hear your thoughts on it. Anyway, SFT.
I honestly don't believe that it's a sexual thing. I think this falls under the category of you made it sexual. I think this was for tired, over-the-road salespeople or truck drivers, and they just wanted to vibrate their sore muscles.
I just told my husband like a week ago that I want one of these.
What? An old one? One of the coin-operated ones?
I just want a vibrating bed.
I think we can get you a coin-operated vibrating bed.
It lulls me to sleep.
Well, there's like you're shaking. These things, because I'm with the caller.
Here's the Hyper Vibe vibration machine.
I don't believe this was for sex, man. I think we made it that because that's how we ruin everything. This was made for the old. I'm out selling vacuum cleaners. I hit my territory for the third time
I got the history, guys.
Okay,
before they became a standard cliche involving, quote, adult motels, vibrating beds, originally operated by a staff member who manually shook the bed, were often prescribed as a remedy for a variety of health ailments by doctors in the early part of the 20th century.
Oh, she's got AIDS. Shake her bed.
So, literally...
The one invented in 1958 was named Magic Fingers.
That's my AOL screen name.
You can't use that anymore.
So this was originally some cockamamie, old-timey remedy for
it's like that thing that
sore
goes
muscles
around fat ladies' bellies that shook your belly to make you skinny.
Yeah.
Well, we got one of those, by the way. You put Tiffany back on it during the Predators days, right?
Back in the 20s, we had vibration and cocaine.
Yeah, that's all we had.
And they're like, throw that at it. No, still dying.
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
I don't know. Give me a little bit of that sweet, and then throw me on that vibrating bed. That's been a pretty good time.
But I remember as a kid growing up, the vibrating bed was at like motels that like for, I guess, hookers.
Like love motels.
Or love motels and stuff. And then I wonder, but there's also the whole doing it on top of a washing machine and it vibrating it, making it better. What is that?
Well, I thought that was. I don't think you were. I thought the wife was supposed to sit on the. I don't think you were supposed to do somebody on the.
Well, the wife was sitting on. The wife is sitting, but the thing is
the
vibrating.
Whole, Howard Stern private parts sit on the speaker thing.
Okay, I apologize. I thought that was a single person activity. I did not know that
it's
was
both activity.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm down for learning.
So
didn't know that.
Basically, we just thought vibration because there's vibrators, that.
Yes, there are.
They're vibrators. Pull that. This is a new impression I'm working on. It's called Bumpkin Goes into Spencer's Gift. There's vibrators. Thank you.
So that is true. Like the vibration sensation.
Here he goes.
I wanted to hug you and tell you I love you just now. Like, man, I love you.
As soon as it goes, nothing new.
Look, I'm crying. It's so natural. That is true love between two people. I wanted to hug you when you said vibration.
You guys can lay in a vibrating bed together.
God damn it, man, I love you so much. It's just natural with you, isn't it? It just comes right out.
Well, could it be better? Okay, follow me. Because
no, I'm not following you.
There's been so many this has been portrayed in so many movies, and
even in like The Sims. Did you guys used to play The Sims?
Yeah,
they all had vibrating
but
beds.
They were coin operated.
Yeah,
vibrate. So I honestly
we need to ask Fairvilla.
I think I hit this one. I think that it was not a nefarious sexual thing. I think it was coin operation. Like she says, it was a health benefit thing. And I'm going to go a step further and say that they at that time they thought that was fancy.
Yes,
that was
absolutely.
Technology, man.
Well, it's just like the early massage chairs were just chairs that vibrated, and so it's like it doesn't give you a massage. But
right.
they
all had that friend that had one of those expensive vibrating chairs, right? The big, billowy, poofy, lazy boy. And then it had the remote control that came out the side.
Hardwired to big, thick cord.
And then they put a piece of plastic over it, so I guess you kept, or the plastic
keeps
would
the
bubble
J
up.
Out.
It does keep the J out. And then it bubbles up over time.
Yes.
And you would sit in it. It was just gross. I mean, just kind of opulence. And
it didn't feel good. No. It just vibrated, and you're like, all right, this is shaking my kidneys. But it didn't it's not like relaxing. It doesn't have like the rolling motion. Now it's got like little
balls and
those things kind of hurt.
Yeah,
right?
well, they're supposed to. It's more of a deep tissue shiatsu massage. But I can remember as a kid, I'd go into Brookstone, and that thing would start at the top of my shoulders, and I was too small, so it would be on my head. And those shiatsu balls are whacking my head, and then it would go down my back, down my back, down my back, down my back, right to my spine. Then it'd go to the under part, and then it'd get my boys.
That's called the Watson.
Yeah, and then it'd sit on my boys, and then I'd be like, "Well, I hope my mom takes a little more time in JCPenney because this feels very good."
Here we go in the magnet again. Jimmy Buffett has a song called "This Hotel Room" that has a line that includes, "Put in a quarter, turn out the light, magic fingers make you feel all right."
Well, Jimmy Buffett also has "Why Don't We Get Drunk?" I went on a Jimmy Buffett kick over the weekend. I was arguing with you guys that his first 3 albums are actually okay, and I've never been more ashamed in my life.
But it's gotta feel better. Okay, think about it. Like, it wouldn't have gone on for so long and had this rumor of like the sex hotels.
So we're talking about the folklore.
I think it's a thing that men made up in their heads, like the washing machine thing. I think they think, if it vibrates, it's going to make the girl feel good.
Well, we don't know what makes women feel good.
I know, that's why this rumor happened.
Yeah, I'm agreeing
with you. What do you do? The thing on the top? What is that?
I don't know what that is. What is that?
Top hat.
It looks like a piece of meat. What is it? Oh my God!
I don't want that.
Somebody's steak tip fell out. Jeez Louise, you didn't cook that one. That one's not cooked. Put that back in there.
That?
Yeah, what is that? Put that in the dog bowl. It fell on the ground.
It's got okay. If you had let me ask you this. We did this experiment where you did it on a bed that didn't vibrate and vibrated. Would there be any better experience on the vibrating bed at all? Like 5%, just something.
Is this like a newer one? Like in our Twitch chat room,
they do have newer ones.
Yeah, Tommy G says his vibrates, right?
That's what he said.
Was he get a fancy bed, like a sleep number, or like one of those?
Sleep number is not fancy, by the way. Like Seth said, I got a sleep number, and it's just a Coleman air mattress.
But they have degrees. I mean, you can go big baller.
I know, but I ripped out like there's 2 air mattresses in here, some tubes.
This guy was so bad.
This is not some hardcore technology.
Tommy G has the adjustable base that that makes me laugh too. But that vibrates. So your question is, if I made love to my wife on the vibrating bed that Tommy G has with the adjustable base, and I made love to my wife on the normal purple mattress we have now, just a normal, would I get more of a benefit or enjoy the vibrating mattress? I'm going to say yeah.
It's something. It's something, right?
It's a sensation, right?
Yeah.
I like. And maybe it would make us laugh or something. Like we'd be happier. I don't know. I mean, I'm down with it. I say yes.
Like this guy, like it would increase the enjoyment level by some percentage. It wouldn't decrease it.
I don't think it would unless
it distracted you.
Unless she couldn't get it in her mouth and things. Can't talk.
That's a lot of vibration.
No, we're talking about nachos. I had ordered Gringos earlier.
So
pre-game.
And then it just stopped. And I never
put another coin in. Oh, you mean the fad?
I think it probably died out in the 70s.
It's still going strong.
In like love motels type of deal?
Are love motels still around? I don't know.
Hope not. That's disgusting.
Right? There's tons of new mattresses with vibration.
A love motel is just a place to go to it's just that's not a good thing, right?
Probably in like retro hipster motels and hotels, right? For like nostalgia.
Because an actual love motel is just a real bad situation in bad part of town that's for hookers, right? Like it's the tiny hotel that you bring your hooker to and you rent by the hour, right? Yes. And it's real bad.
And it's not even by the hour. I mean, I think you're 12 minutes and you're trying to get out of there.
Well, but you have to rent it by the hour.
Right. Do you hang out the rest of the time? I don't.
No, you get the hell out of it.
But I tell her, but I am a gentleman. I'm like, you can stay here and you can do your drugs. Just please don't OD. Chivalry is not dead. And I bid you farewell.
Yeah,
and then I tell her how much I love her and how I'm going to leave my family for her. But I don't mean any of that.
Bad.
And then I get in the car and I cry because I realize what I'm doing is bad.
I do like the traditional Florida motel that has all the rooms, like 2-story.
Yeah.
All the rooms out front.
Big air conditioner. Loud.
Big loud out front. Leaking water.
Yeah, with the metal door of the air conditioner that whoever you're rooming with, namely Tom, will go and adjust in the middle of the night and let it slam, waking you up.
Yeah. That's like there's some comfort, like even though it's some of the real
that
shady.
Goes back to your blinds. That's the big blinds. You know, and you wake up, you got the big window, and you go, and you open it, and then there's somebody, and you close it real fast. Well, if you're me, I used to stay in those things when I was a kid. I would open the blinds, and then my mom would scream because she's coming out of the bathroom with her boobs out.
Yeah.
And I'd have to pull it back because there's some man looking through the window.
I like there's 2 sinks in that weirdo area that's before the toilet and the shower.
Then you got 2 cups wrapped in plastic. Tiny
by the coffee
You got
machine.
the tiny quilted ice bucket. Why did they quilt and make the ice bucket padded?
That's the koozie of the ice bucket.
Why is it padded, though? I
don't know.
It doesn't need to be padded.
It's to soak up the stink.
Yuck, dude. That's one of the grossest thing you ever said. So the sink and the bucket's in the padding? I'm going to throw up. I never thought about that.
Something needs to soak up the stink.
My God, you just made me spit every... That's gross.
And the mold.
Stop it. Oh, my God. I think my dad stole one of those from the president's staff out of Acapulco. We used it for years. It was his prized possession, my dad's stinky ice bucket.
But by the way, we all ate that ice and those motel ice machines. By the way, I looked at one of those giant industrial ice machines.
All the time.
Well, not
only the first thing you do on a soccer trip, we go on a soccer trip. We go to Tallahassee for like the junior, Florida championships. We're in Tallahassee in a state cup, and we get 4 rooms. All these crazy
teen boys.
They're literally monkey boys. They're animals, right? They're teen boys. And the first thing that this one, I still know his name. He still lives in DeLand. The first thing he would do is run to the ice machine and just the biggest yellow vitamins ahoy.
Yeah. And so I looked
Who would even think to do that? That's a
Teen boy.
He was a genius. He was a genius.
All teen boys are sociopaths because we just want to ruin things.
Yeah.
Like, you just want to ruin it.
The only way I could get my daughter to smile at her dance recital over the weekend was to whisper the B-hole word in her ear. Then she smiled. I take a picture of her real fast and I run away.
All my friends, they go on all the instruments and band class and the walls and everything. And then anytime everybody got caught and there's some adult like, why would you do this? We're limited funding.
I don't know. The answer is always, I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's a complete idiot, teen boy.
Yeah.
Anyway. So they said you have to clean out the lines once a month, because this literally stopped me from buying one of these industrial ice machines, because I was like, I want an industrial ice machine that makes broken ice, like an old sub shop ice machine, you know. And I started looking
you were
for
in one of those modes where you got so drunk that you needed to like, I do that too. I get so drunk that I want to help my drinking get better by enabling it with technology.
Yeah. And so I wanted one of those, but all the reviews are like, you have to clean it, and you have to go through this cleaning process once a month because mold gets in the lines.
Like even the little ones are hard to keep
it's like
clean.
cleaning the tap lines of a really good beer bar, like places here, like a place like Red Light that is known for the best tasting beers on the planet they get, right?
Yeah.
They are always cleaning their lines. I mean, it's probably every day.
And that's when I realized I ate a lot of mold when I was a kid, because none of those motels, for damn sure, never cleaned out the lines once a month.
Do you clean out the lines in your fridge ice maker?
No, that's made for residential.
I don't, but I do pee in it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, they make those
sterile, right?
for lazy, regular people that don't want to do any clean. Like the industrial ones, like, hey, makes 82 pounds of ice a day. Like, you have to.
It's like
sheer volume.
It's like good cookware does not have nonstick, because at that point you are supposed to be a professional.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't get all the little safety bells and whistles. It's literally, this is an industrial ice machine.
We need the dodo. My eggy stuck. We're idiots. Like, you give the dodos all
dodo proof.
Yeah, dodo proof, because they'll ruin it.
Well, we got time for one more before we. I was going to say before we skeet out of here. I don't know what that means.
Hey, gang, it's Zach from Ohio. I contend that...
I don't like the beginning of this voicemail.
He's peeing in an ice machine.
Did you hear that?
Hey, gang, it's Zach from Ohio. I contend that the fanciest way to live your life at home in luxury and comfort is to wear a robe. So anytime I'm at home, I'm in my underwear, and I throw a robe over top of myself. And tie my little waistband, and it's super comfy, and I would never do anything but it. It's the best way to live.
What do you think?
I'm in.
A couple weeks ago, you were wanting to be like, am I wrong? You came to me and said that you wanted to produce a series. Wait, hold on a second.
Yeah, whatever happened? The robes. Butler, find out about the robes.
He forgot that he was part. Like, you looked at when Zach was saying this, you were like, I would never do this. Horrible. And then I'm like, didn't you get with Mark Villain a Villain Clothing?
Yeah,
and you want to do a series of
silk robes?
Because that's what he's talking about, like a nice silk robe.
No, he's talking about a big cotton,
like a
trashy robe. Yeah, that's a straight up Roseanne trash
that Terry Bradshaw wears when he goes downstairs to ask for extra pillows.
I need a variety of robes.
Yeah, I like the silk robe makes a statement that you're down for boofing. The terry cloth robe is just
down
a slob.
For boofing. How dare you?
I'm in a terry cloth robe in that TikTok video that I posted.
It's after a shower is fine, but it's like when you're lounging around the house.
Down for
like
boofing, Sam.
Okay.
Tom's new metal band
down
that he
with
started.
The boofness.
Yeah, he's down with the boofness.
I'm just saying, like,
we might have to do that.
There's something trashy with a robe, unless you're in like the Hilton Hotel. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're real fancy.
What about like at your spa? Like my wife, you need a spa robe.
If you're at a spa, that's. But if you're just like
a Four Seasons, they gave us robes. I wore them downstairs for the pool.
If you're sitting in your Ohio living room,
y'all are mean. Y'all are mean.
I'm just saying, you're smoking after your plumber job, and you're in your robe, a dingy yellow.
After you got a middle finger in traffic.
I think I like Sam and Tom being mean.
And then you're answering the door, and then you're like, you have pajama pants on. What do you do with the stupid? Like, why are you wearing a robe with pajama pants?
So you say no to the robe?
Yeah.
Where are our robes? Are we getting Tom and Dan robes?
It's like the millions of ideas. I start it and then ADD to something else and forget. But you reminded me. I'll check.
No, I didn't actually.
Although Mark's probably mad. He's like, Jesus Christ! You're emailing a crazy new idea. And
this White Claw, a penis tube, and we've done nothing but waste Mark Villain's time.
Yeah. I asked him about the robe too, and he's like, "I'm gonna." And then
why is he friends with us?
I haven't figured that out.
He's really nice. And so, hey, by the way, if you're into his clothing, they have a big Cinco de Mayo deal. Jump on their website, Villain Clothing, find it because it'll go very fast. In fact, you heard it from me. This is their biggest time of year, right? Isn't this their? This is like Villain's holiday. Yeah,
we'll ruin it for sure. I know that for sure.
Yep.
Bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler's here. The fish are here. You are excited because we have a very special guest on the line that Sam's been working hard on.
Yeah. I was like, man, it's off season in the NFL, and I listened to a lot of gambling podcasts and NFL.
This is when you stoke your knowledge, right?
And then this is where we can get interviews with the people that put out this content that I consume.
For sure.
And so I gave Samantha a list, and this gentleman was nice enough to talk to us, and he's from multiple different podcasts I listen to. Started off with Even Money, then the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, and he does a bunch more. But from RT Media, Ross Tucker's on Zoom with us. How you doing, Ross?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Love that you are a listener. Actually, literally just finished recording the Even Money podcast for this week. I went right from that to this, which is great. I had a very good NFL draft. We kind of went over our NFL draft bets on the Even Money podcast. So that was awesome. I appreciate your interest. And Sam did a great job reaching out, and we communicated a bunch. So Sam is the real star here.
Yes,
she really is.
So, Ross, speaking of that podcast, that's how I came to know that you were doing this, and I got interested into the other podcasts that you do. But I know you do that podcast with Steve Fezzik, who I also follow because I got into gambling years back. And so how'd that relationship come about? And then even before that, how'd you get into the podcast business and the podcast world?
Yeah, so the podcast business, that's complete luck.
Yeah.
So I retired from football in 2007. I hurt my neck and I retired from football and started writing for Sports Illustrated. It's funny.
Oh, wow.
I'd actually introduced myself to Peter King, the famous writer, NFL writer, Sports Illustrated, whatever. And I told him my idea about how I wanted to write. I went to Princeton. I had to write like 20-page papers on Machiavelli and stuff all the time. I figured I could write 1,000 words on the Eagles' offensive line or whatever.
Right.
So I told Peter King, and he loved the idea. So when I hurt my neck and my career was over, I actually bruised my spinal cord and knew I was done. He let me write that for his Monday Morning Quarterback. So it's kind of amazing, by the way. I got like 3 or 4 job offers just based on that. Before I knew it, it was 2 weeks after I had hurt my neck, and I had a job with Sirius XM, job with Comcast Television up in the Northeast, and then started writing for Sports Illustrated. So after I write for Sports Illustrated for a couple of years, ESPN hires me away to write for them, and they want to pay me more to write, like a lot more. So I was like, sweet, let's do it. I don't care. So I go to Sports Illustrated, I go to ESPN to write for them. And they said, Ross, will you host our football podcast? I said, I would love to. Absolutely. Literally, guys, Tom, Dan, Sam, no idea what a podcast was.
Oh, I like that.
No idea what a podcast
But I like that.
This is like 2009 or 2010. I just knew they were going to pay me money to talk about football. Yeah. I was like, I would love to do your podcast. That would be amazing. So for 3 years, I was the host of the ESPN Football Today podcast. So this is 2010, 11, and 12. This is like when podcasts were just starting out.
Yeah.
So the audience got pretty big, and it was the only podcast you could listen to, and it was daily, and I knew it's funny, I think 2012, I went to Trafalgar Square in London because I was broadcasting a Rams-Patriots game over there.
Yeah.
And that was the third year of doing the show, and the first year where we started to get sponsors. So it was like SeatGeek, I think, and 100 Flowers, and State Farm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And we had never gotten any sponsors before. So I thought it was like, I was like, this is amazing. Like, you know, I said, how does it work? Do we get money every time I say it? So I would do like State Farm, State Farm, State Farm, State Farm, State Farm.
Yeah, exactly. How do they quantify?
You know, like I would just throw it in. Like I would like make a great point about the Seahawks defensive backs, like, and that's why Richard Sherman, State Farm, State Farm, State Farm, State Farm, you know, whatever. So what's funny about it is I'm at Trafalgar Square, which is like London's version of Times Square, right? Like, and they're hosting this NFL celebration. People from all over Europe. I am on stage. There's 40,000 people there. Okay? I felt like I was like a rock star, like a singer. I'm interviewing Belichick and Brady and Robert Kraft and Gronkowski on stage. I see at least double-digit signs that say State Farm, State Farm, State Farm. Okay? In the crowd. Here's what's crazy. There is no State Farm in London. There is no State Farm in England. That was just their way. That was just those people's way of being like, I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I listen.
Yeah.
Like that was their way of letting me know that they listen. So anyway, you know, so I start talking to my agent. I'm like, man, I talked to some of the advertising agencies, and they were telling me how much they were paying per spot on the ESPN Football Today podcast. I thought, oh my gosh, like they're paying for me and then a whole lot more. So I tell my agent we're going to have all kinds of great leverage and whatever. And then I kind of caught wind that ESPN wasn't going to renew me because I was just digital at ESPN. My TV thing was on NBC Sports Network with Pro Football Talk. So I don't think ESPN liked that their daily football podcast guy was on like their new competitor's TV 3 times a week at night.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I caught wind of that, got my own website. As soon as I finished ESPN, I started the Ross Tucker podcast. I called all of those advertisers because I had relationships with them now. I was like, hey, I got introductory pricing. You want in? And they were all like, yeah, let's do it. So like, again, total luck. I never would have started a podcast. And by the way, if I try to start a podcast now, it would do terrible. There's too many people doing it. It's too hard.
Yep.
But I was able to bring over a good, healthy amount of the listeners from that old podcast. And then they all came, not all, but a bunch of them came to the Ross Tucker podcast. That was awesome. After a year, I thought, man, fantasy football is huge. So I started the Fantasy Feast podcast with Evan Silva. Then the year after that, I was like, man, a lot of people are really into betting, like really into it. So I started the Even Money podcast like in 2015. So way ahead of the game on the betting, probably right around the middle on the fantasy stuff. And then I've got the College Draft podcast. Andrew Brandt does the Business of Sports podcast. But that was how sort of RT Media or the podcast business started, was from dumb luck with ESPN hiring me, and then probably not real smart of ESPN to not want to renew me. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me, though, because I started my own thing, and it's been great.
And it's yours. It's like it's your thing, and that what you went through is very similar to exactly what we went through. So it actually makes me feel better to meet you and know somebody else that's had to do that, because it's weird.
And I'm glad you told that story, Ross, because it's kind of like, for our listeners know our story. We worked for iHeart, we terrestrial radio for years. We started a podcast in 2009, just as in Daniel's
same thing you're talking about.
Back studio, a spare room, and then it got popular. It had a huge audience, and no one took it seriously. And then when we left terrestrial radio, all those listeners came with us,
and we too had introductory pricing.
yeah, we were able to undercut.
Very important.
Yeah, and so the story is great. And speaking of the gambling podcast, you did start it early because that was about the time I got super interested in the gambling.
Now I see why you relate to this guy so much, Tom. Is this guy's got the story you got?
And you probably know this too, Ross. Is like nowadays, like currently 2021, there is an insane amount of podcasts about gambling. But when you started, there wasn't that many. So people that were interested in that content found you and then stuck with you. I've been listening to your shows for years, and it was because you started it early. So congratulations on having the foresight, and also a slight bit of luck as far as them kind of forcing you to,
though, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to work at it.
Yeah, and you know what? I know there's a lot out there now. I think people kind of like our format. For all my shows, they're all 30 minutes. I at some point I read that was like the average commute time and the average workout time. So I thought, and I don't know about you guys, but you guys are kind of doing a radio thing too. So you guys' shows might be longer, but for me, I will never not listen to a podcast because it's too short. But if I see 2 hours and 28 minutes, I'm like, oh man, I can't do that.
It's a dedication. Yeah.
Oddly enough, most of our shows are 2 hours and 28 minutes.
I really try to keep it tight to 30 minutes so that people kind of can count on it. The Ross Tucker Football Podcast is daily. The other ones are weekly. And so I just want them to know, it's 30 minutes. Like the betting one, right? So Ross Tucker Football Podcast is basically turned into your 30 minutes of on-demand audio about what's going on in the NFL from a former player and a guest. And it's just your 30 minutes if you're really into the NFL.
Yeah.
The betting one, it's just me and Steve just giving out our NFL bets. But I think what's helped, and Tom, you know this, we've done really well. We do well. Steve is the only 2-time winner of the Super Contest out there in Vegas, and I've done well. We're up over 100 units over the last 4 years as we've been tracking it closely. So that certainly helps. The more people are betting, yes, but they're winning off of our bets as well, which really drives it.
Yeah, winning is important in betting, right?
I got a couple questions about that. When it comes to gambling, because I do listen to the Even Money podcast, and Steve Fezzik, notoriously, obviously a professional gambler, more of a numbers guy, like you talk about it all the time. He's betting numbers. This guy's a math genius, basically, and when
you get to that level, that's what you have to be, right? I guess.
And and when you listen to the show, and this is why it's good, because some shows out there on gambling are just math guys and they get too bogged down into the analytics. And I do like and appreciate the fact that you're more of a football guy that's not necessarily a math guy. You admit it on the show. And then Steve's the math guy. But you have had a better betting record than he has. Does he get mad at that? I know he says over a long, 20 years maybe that he'd beat you out. But you've done better than him a lot of years.
He's an awesome guy. I don't think he gets mad about it, but I get asked that question a lot. My buddies that listen, they're like, dude, how mad is Fezzik that's what he does for a living and you beat him most years? And I'm like, you know what? He's happy for me. He's happy that he gets some more clients from the show and because he gives out other bets as well. But It's been a very good relationship for both of us. It's weird because I root for him to do well. It's not really a competition.
Yeah.
Because the competition, in my mind, is to get as many listeners as possible. So it's not like I want his bets to win too.
Of course.
Now, if we're both close at the end of the year, would I love to be up a unit or two on him? Yeah, sure. But I want him to be up 100 units so more people listen to the show. I don't want him to lose so I beat him. That doesn't help the show or the money,
right.
Ross, I want to talk a little football real quick. And, you were, you say this on the show, classic journeyman, 6 different NFL teams, offensive line. Like knowing a lot of journalists don't know about linemen just because that's so far, they may be a quarterback or a wide receiver or skill position. They may tout themselves as more of an expert on that, but not many know about the offensive and defensive line. It's because they just, it's one of those subjects that they didn't really study on because it's not as sexy.
It's not as sexy.
But
sure.
It's hugely important. We saw in the Super Bowl that determined the Super Bowl, right?
There you go.
And so how much of knowing about offensive, how important that is, has helped you in gambling, and has it made the difference in certain games where hey, I know these guys are out and I know how important that is? Because I think the average guy like me doesn't understand the significance of an injury on the offensive line because we don't know. We're how good is this guy compared to his backup? I don't understand.
That's a great question. Do you use that knowledge?
Yeah, so I think what's interesting about it is you're right in the sense that we've gotten to the point where the mass media, I think the fans, they know offensive and defensive line play is really important. They know it's a vital, after the quarterback, probably the most important. But they still don't really understand how it works or necessarily always know who's good and who's not. So I do think that provides some value for me. I think the value I provide is, number one, having a good feeling for the offensive line play, and especially when there's an injury, to your point, and how much of a drop-off there is. I also think I do well, and Tom, you listen to the show, but spots. I just have a good sense, I feel for, man, they're coming down off a big win, or I just feel like this team is, I just feel for this. I can see, and honestly, most of the time, I just bet underdogs I think you're going to have a chance to win the game. And sometimes they win. I feel like it's sometimes they win a third of the time they just cover, and a third of the time I lose, but that's 2/3 winning.
Yeah.
If I'm taking underdogs, I think you're going to win the game. I think I have a good chance to win the game.
Russ, speaking of that, and knowing that inside as a player, so the things that matter and the things that don't, and then you hear the other media talk about how, motivation-wise, how, one team is more motivated than the other. Some of that is, seems to me like BS. I think every player's 100% motivated to do the best job they can to get paid the most. You know what I'm saying?
Different drama narratives. Which one is actually going to stick in that player's mind, and which is a non-factor?
But then I could understand where travel and if you're West Coast team traveling east and playing times, and especially in London and stuff.
Well, we were talking about the Super Bowl with what happened with Andy Reid. Remember, we were talking about
personal issues and
personal issue. How much weight does a personal issue within your family weigh on you or the head coach's head going into the biggest game of your life?
Yeah, and you know what? We don't know, there's no way to put a metric on that, right? Or to know how much it hurts. But I know this, it doesn't help.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Everything that happened with the Chiefs, Andy Reid's son, that can't possibly have helped them in that game. Couldn't possibly have helped them in that game. And it had to weigh on Andy Reid. And there's no way his schedule, his routine was exactly the same as it otherwise would have been. There's just no way.
Ross, when it comes to offensive linemen, because this is the part where I have a problem wrapping my head around as far as if you go to, and I think a lot of people are like this, we're looking at the NFL and we understand all right, if you're a wide receiver and you're built like Julio Jones, we're okay, that's a good, he's tall, he's muscular, he's got good weight on him,
and
fast, and then he can catch balls. We understand. But when it comes to offensive linemen, when someone talks about like, a first round draft pick to a third round, or even like why is he
what
better?
Happened with me in the draft? Like, I didn't know they would tout these guys and they'd say he was picked because of these reasons.
Yeah, and I understand strength. I think we all do. Like, how many reps can you do? How fast are you? But it's way more complicated than that.
What else are we looking for?
Could you explain it to us in a way we could understand? Like, how can we judge offensive linemen and whether they're good or not?
So it's not that dissimilar from like a plumber or a carpenter or anybody like that. It's not all about experience, but some people are just better at their craft than others. Now, in pro football, physical ability is going to be a bigger component of it than like a carpenter or a plumber, but it still ultimately comes down to how good you are at your craft. You know, I never quite got my technique where I wanted to as a player so that I could be an all-pro caliber player. But what's interesting about that is my first 3 years, my head coach got fired, which meant a new offensive line coach came in, which meant he wanted me to totally change the way I was cutting the wood or fixing the toilet. You know, I mean, and so I never really got a chance to master my craft because I kept having to change it to suit what the new offensive line coach wanted. So when you watch like Rashawn Slater, right? Like, so Penei Sewell, who went number 7 to Detroit, he is really a physical marvel, which is why he went that high. But then the next offensive lineman that went, next two really, Rashawn Slater and Elijah Vera Tucker, they're both like 6'4", 305. They're not monsters. They're not 6'7", 320. They're not crazy fast. Those guys are just good. Those guys they're smooth.
Better plumbers.
They're technicians, but they really are just better at what they're asked to do. It's not, neither one of those guys really win based off of raw physical ability as much as they're just very highly skilled at what they're asked to do. And honestly, unless you watched a lot of it, it'd be very hard for you to tell. It's not a formula where you can just say height plus weight plus 40 time plus arm length equals this guy will be this good of a player. Because I'm telling you right now, I've seen guys, multiple guys that could bench press 500 pounds easy that stunk. I mean, they were terrible.
You know what's interesting here?
A guy that can barely bench 315 who was awesome.
Yeah, it sounds...
He was just that good with his hands and that quick. So there's not a formula. You got to watch it, and then you kind of know what you're looking at.
Do you have the boards that you can Velcro back together?
Yeah, I got a video of me. I thought I posted on my Instagram.
The ones are you? Yeah,
I threw two of them in the air and I broke them with back fists. And
no, but you're talking about the Velcro ones.
Yeah,
they're not Velcro.
The ones you use for kids.
They're slide together.
The ones I use for kids, where if you have that one kid that's just a little bit weak, you can just kind of give him a little flex.
Yeah.
It'll just pop.
I usually flex it back.
And then you look at his dad, and you're like, still got your 70
We should see if your kids can. Are you bringing your kids? You see if they can break it. Make fun of him if not.
His wife doesn't know he's going to be there. In fact, he will wait until the morning. He will wait until the morning to tell her. Yeah, he'll be late.
She should do the free women's self-defense class, really.
I told her I was
She'll be doing it on Tom in the driveway.
Yeah, I told her I was going to Home Depot. And I'll be back in an hour.
I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah. Because, I'm afraid that honestly, if... Like, I wanted my sons to go to the land cruise, and then Crystal was against it, but I want them to...
just out with it.
Okay.
You want them to see you do things.
But you don't want to see this?
I want them to be impressed by their old man.
Yeah.
And so, I want to just impress them, and then I want to be their hero always. I feel like... it's slipping because the other day Max now associates me with liking plants, and then like was telling my niece like Daddy likes plants, and like so that's what they know.
Did you hear the negative
he loves
thing?
his plants more than us.
No. Even Max knows that if you like plants too much,
I don't want them to know me as the guy that wanders around the house liking plants.
One of Maisie's,
Why not? That's who you are.
One of Maisie's dance buddies looked at me to my face and said, and then looked at Maisie and goes, "You have a little daddy."
Oh, really?
Yeah, that one hurt.
Ooh.
So
I would have kicked him right now.
I was afraid to invite my sons to this, and then we're all standing in the parking lot.
They might get the ninja bug. They'll get the ninja bug.
There's like a couple people.
Oh no, there's oak trees around us, so they'll be shaded.
There's some of your students. There's like your students' parents there. They're standing there. Nobody. They were like.
It's that uncomfortable thing.
I have
where
a
you
lot
get
of
on the
people
mic
coming.
and you're like,
Yeah. The feedback is real bad.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming today. I'd like to thank Eat Me All the Time 365 for bringing some food. And up next is
Everybody's doing the routine, but it's all off. And they're doing the Dukins, and then you're like,
well, the routine, they only practice.
and then you're kicking the bat is not breaking, and then you miss and kick me in my chest, and I'm like, my heart. And then,
that might happen.
and then you're like, I should have never done this. This is stupid. It's a waste of time. You suck.
My sons are waiting in the truck.
they're like, what is this? Because your wife won't let them out the heat because they got little Swedish skin.
Yeah, and then they're like, my dad is a disappointment. That's what I imagine.
Tommy's like, Home Depot sucks.
So I don't want it to be that, and I'm afraid it is.
Well,
so
that's sad and disparaging on my.
Well, I
think that it might be.
No, I agree to this.
Tell them that they're going to get to see some ninjas. Take some heat off of yourself. Put the heat on the actual martial art.
Do you have any weapons? Like,
I have weapons. We're not doing any weapons demonstrations.
How about you whack?
What kind of weapons?
I have them in the dojo.
Somebody in the chat
and I
room
had to
said-
yell at the kids to stop touching them.
Somebody in the chat room said you should whack a White Claw off Tom's head with a nunchuck.
Oh, I could do that. I have nunchaku.
Yeah. Well, then you hit me in the temple, and I'm never the same.
I don't know. That's not a good idea.
You can turn into some sort of savant afterwards.
No, it never goes that way. It always goes. He's just there's a different personality.
And then it is weird too. Like, what happened to him? Why is he talking like that? It's like, we're trying to hit a White Claw off his head. Why
would you do that?
We're behind a dojo in a hot parking lot.
What kind of weapons do you have at the dojo?
You have that stick with the blade, the long blade, the long stick?
The banana blade.
What's it called? A nagu?
Naginata. Naginata. It's a woman. It's usually it's a well, not a female weapon, but mostly the females use that weapon. It's
the naginata.
Naginata. But I have.
I'm not saying that.
But I have, I have the samurai swords. I have a shinai. I have the bow staff. I have nunchaku. I have sai. I have tonfa. I have kama. Kama's the really deadly. That one's like hardcore.
Tua. He plays for Miami.
Kama.
So what's that? What does that look like?
It looks like it's a wooden stick with a sickle that goes like this on the end of it.
And you use two of them, right?
We use two of them.
Yeah, I've seen that one. My niece does karate.
I remember being a little kid.
She has all the same weapons. It's awesome.
I remember seeing a guy at a tournament like slice his hand almost off, like I saw flapping skin just almost fall because a guy went like this, like in a kata demonstration, and hit his hand and like pretty much lobbed half his hand off.
Oh man,
it was just hanging there.
I thought they were plastic.
Oh my God.
No, not. See, that's the thing. Ours traditional. When we do it, we use legit stuff. They use like fake plastic ones that you can fling around and fly around that are just.
I like it. Nothing makes me like the demonstration more than when your sword is floppy. I like a good floppy sword. Yeah, I like a floppy sword.
With hard, rigid
like
swords.
a strange matte gray color.
Can I go there just to learn the weapons training?
Not just so.
I'm strictly weapons only. I don't do none of the air punching.
You have to take karate for 1 year before you get into the Okinawan Kabuto, which is the weapon system that we have.
The weapon system, the Okinawa Kabuki.
Okinawan
Can we do it online?
Is there an online?
No, I don't know.
How about like a 3-day Stormy Hill Harley Davidson course?
That's what, honestly, as much as it does suck, because people do want to come in and do that only, but that just kind of makes it more legit that you have to be in our karate because it goes hand in hand. The same stances, the same kind of techniques and kihon that we do in the regular karate, it translates right over to the weapons. So
do like Machine Gun America, where you can just like pay an extreme amount of money to go there and stab a dummy with size.
Chop bamboo. You set up the bamboo sticks and then you samurai that.
And people get bored of it easily.
You can do sword anytime. You can start that right away. That's
really?
Yeah, we have sword that every Saturday at 9:30 that you can just do sword.
Take sword class.
Okay, now we're talking.
I'm texting him like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm taking 50 milligrams, heading to sword class.
That's only $50. $50 a month. It's cheap for every Saturday at 9:30.
$50 a month for sword?
You got to go to sword class.
Yeah,
can you legally own a sword?
Yeah, I got mine on right now.
Like when I'm in, we'll just carry it around.
I carry mine on my back everywhere I go.
I thought there was
just tell people it's an umbrella.
There's two things I carry everywhere I go. Is I carry a 5-can Villain White Claw tube and my sword.
No, can you because there's a I guess is that concealed? The blade has to be
a certain length.
I don't conceal mine. I have it right in plain view.
But can I have my sword in my truck at any time?
I'm pretty sure. Your sword rack.
I think it has to be like 2 steps before use. Or something like that.
That's a gun.
Give me 2 steps. Give me 2 steps.
It's the same with the sword.
Is it? But if it's in the sheath, that's
one.
One.
I don't keep.
And then 2 is cutting the head off. 3. 2.
I don't keep mine in a sheath either.
How do you start with the sword? How good are you at sword?
I'm pretty good actually. I when I took it before when I was younger, I made it like halfway through the ranks. I'm starting all over again because it's a different kind of system of sword that they do. So I just started about 2 months ago.
You're doing new sword.
And you start with a boken. It's called a boken, so it's a wooden sword.
I know all the old sword, but now these kids are doing new sword.
Yeah.
It's too confusing.
So you start with a wooden sword for the first 3 months, then you move to a dull samurai sword, then you move to a sharp samurai sword.
I feel like it's flawed because wooden sword, stick.
Yeah.
Essentially, smoothed out.
What's that thing that wrestlers always use to
Shinai? I have those too. I use those for the kids.
It does nothing. It's supposed to be like, he's hit him with the. They always call it.
They sting, man.
But what did they call it? They called it
blackjack.
No, it's a bamboo. It's literally a piece of bamboo that they just split in a bunch of times.
It's a shinai, but they don't call it that.
No, they call it
I don't know.
They're like, oh my god, a kendo stick. They hit him with a kendo stick.
That's the white way of saying it, I guess. Yeah,
or slightly racist too. Right?
It is used in kendo, and it is a stick, I guess.
You know, it's a big thing.
I like shinai better. Yeah. That's better.
Can I borrow a samurai sword? Because a big thing on TikTok is chopping soda bottles with samurai swords.
No, only fat kids do that.
No, but I can get
a lot
of followers. Yeah.
Do that.
I can take your shirt off.
I can chop the white claw. I can do the white claw with a sword on your head. I know I can do it.
And then you have to flip and catch all the White Claw in your mouth.
As soon
as I cut the ribbon, I'll turn to you and cut the White Claw.
I got balls and then
yell,
not that
"Stop,
much.
Asian 8!"
But I'll say something in Asian before.
That's a step too far.
I think your boys would like that though. If Daddy's just lime White Claws cascading over your tight polo.
Yeah, but he gets me right
man.
Open the nose.
I've seen that. Have you seen that video? We played it on the show years ago. Have you seen the samurai sword video where the guy's screwing around at the party?
I'm not doing that.
At the party.
Oh yeah, no, I think I've seen that.
It's a bad one. He doesn't die, but it's bad. Like you see the guy screwing around. He chops him in the side. Oh god, there's blood everywhere.
I'm not letting you chop a samurai White Claw.
My sensei, my instructor, was one of the guys getting it done too. He had a potato put on his neck, laid down, and one of our senior instructor, one of our head guys from Japan, blindfolded with a samurai sword, boop, potato goes. I was there watching live.
No way!
I swear to God, split in half, fell right out of his throat, nothing on his throat at all.
I believe that, and that's
chopped the potato.
Chopped the potato off his throat, blindfolded.
Wow! I'm more impressed by the guy laying there.
Yeah, that's my instructor. He's going to be there Saturday. Shihan.
So I
can lay on the ground. I look like a potato.
So you know Daichi, my neighbor, my good friend that lives behind me in my mother-in-law suite?
Yeah, Corona Man.
Yeah. His Corona Man.
Well, that's what Seth called him.
No, he had Corona, yeah, but he survived.
I love our jobs, and I love this show. It's my favorite thing. I'm having a lot of fun.
His father was my instructor growing up, and he's the one that coming. That's who I'm under.
Is he a good martial artist, your friend?
Daichi?
Yeah, because I never
He's good. It's just not his thing.
He doesn't feel it, right?
He doesn't feel it.
He was telling me that at your birthday dinner, that he's like what you talk about. He's the guy that's got the skills, but it's not his passion.
But it's not his passion. Yeah.
So, but he still knows about all.
No, he still knows. He still teaches once in a blue moon for me.
Yeah, he's awesome, but he's just like,
Yeah, it's like, I guess it's having anything, a father figure that did one thing and it was around you 24/7. You kind of like
that's who I want to get in here
it.
to talk about, because you're always bringing this up about like what we talk about, like Tiger Woods or the Mannings. We talk Archie Manning, his kids and stuff like that, and it's funny that
sometimes your sons aren't into what you're into.
Yeah, because
when they are, they're really.
When
good.
I met your friend Taisha, you were explaining, and he was explaining to me. He's like, I enjoy it, but not like these, because at the dinner was everybody there was like the jujitsu. I mean, these guys are like they live it. Like it's everything they do is all about the grappling.
Right.
I would like to. There's got to be some sort of trick with the potato thing, right?
I mean, I think what it is. I think they described it. I mean,
muscle memory.
You can still cut somebody, but I think when it goes from some sort of object to something else, when there's a little bit of space in between, you can kind of press and it doesn't cut. I guess
it's not going to. You have to. If you were a tiny bit off, it's not instant death, right?
But.
Well,
I don't know what Seth knows. He's kind of iffy about it.
There's a. I remember hearing some sort of explanation, but it's still obviously risky, and you still could get your throat cut.
Yeah,
you want to do that one?
No, I do not trust that much. I barely
put your bear costume on.
What if you laid there and we put the sword on your neck and then had him throw the potato in your neck?
Okay,
switch it. That's not bad.
It's pretty.
But I'm going to throw it hard as. Oh.
No, that's why I won't cut it.
Sorry. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, we're having fun. We're open, baby.
It slipped.
No big deal.
Yeah.
That's why we have a producer.
The leg thing, I feel like...
Sorry, Sam.
Once you go through the bat, like to kick and go through my femur and my muscle, that's a step too far. Like,
I got to get through your muscle first, and then it...
Yeah. So I feel like it's going to stop...
kicking your legs?
Your leg's going to be so...
You have little legs, though,
You do have little legs.
You do have
They're
strong.
He's going to snap.
No, he does have strong legs.
So you have to be in a certain...
But they're tiny. Oh, my God, you have the tiniest white legs.
Your legs are smaller than mine.
You have tiny white legs. You have tiny little...
Let's wax your legs and put you on TikTok.
You look like Homestar Runner.
Oh, watch out.
Oh, God,
he's tearing the studio apart.
Oh, is he mad? Get in there. He broke the studio.
God, I was just trying to show TikTok my legs.
TikTok.
Twitch.
Man, you old man.
No, it's like you have to go way higher than it. Go higher than it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Anyway.
So it's all about the stance you have to take when I kick. So you have to be in a nice, deep, strong stance in order to take this impact.
I say I can't. How low can you drop?
It doesn't have to be low. He has to have his front leg bent.
Can you go?
I'm stiff. So
he is very stiff. He's not flexible.
We'll warm me up beforehand.
Like this.
But it's going to be the other leg.
You have the whitest legs I've ever seen.
This one.
Oh, this is bad. Oh, I don't like this.
I do have skinny,
the bricks are going to be...
No, they're strong, but they're...
He's going to need something to hold on to. He can't balance.
Yeah. Do you want me to,
hold his hand?
Do you want me to stand there and you can hold on to my potato-like body?
Oh, no, you can get him in the back like Yoda. Just hold on to him in the back so it weighs him down more.
Okay, I can do that.
My legs are so small, I look like a miracle happened. I got up out of my wheelchair. It's true.
You're the kid from Mac and Me.
Seriously, I have genetically stick legs, and it's not my fault.
Every time you go to get a glass of water, I'm amazed that you're walking for the first time. Every time.
Yeah. It's not, and no matter what I do, I get if I gained all the weight, it would just poof my muffin. I would just be 100%.
Can you get his legs beefed up, Seth?
In 3 days?
Just, I mean, in general.
Oh, yeah.
We can do the injections like those guys do their biceps, and you get big, lumpy legs.
Yes.
Synthol injections?
Yeah.
But
just synthol your legs up?
That's genetic, though. Like, no matter how much weight I lift with my legs and my quads, they're never going to grow big. It's like your ass. It's like no matter how much ass workout, you're never going to get a big, nice ass. No, seriously. If you have
do you want a big, nice ass?
Of course.
Ass workout.
I want a big, nice
squats
ass.
and things. There's ass workouts.
Yeah, those ass workouts.
But you ask a girl.
Do you do any ass workouts? I just want to look good in that bunchy bikini when I'm at Blizzard Beach.
I do squats and do other things.
I just want that when I wear my bikini bottoms. I just want that. It's not Brazilian. It's that bunchy.
Yeah.
I want
the bunchy
that,
scrunch.
and I just want the cheekiness of it. I want my cheeks to be. I want a tight cheekiness, and the first thing I got to get rid of all the heat bumps back there.
Ooh.
So, Seth, at this point in time, you've been ripped for a while, right?
Are you trying to get him fat?
No, I wonder if you just if the allure of it wears off, like because I think all of us normos, as Seth calls them or whatever, narps. We like fantasize about what if I was ripped and then like I'd mow the shirt or mow my lawn with no shirt or like walk around jog with no shirt. It's like to
walk
show
around
off,
naked all the time
to show off my ripped body.
I don't do it to show off. It's just comfortable doing it. Like I feel a little. I feel like I'm trying to show it. Like when I answer the doors, like I walk around all day without a shirt on, like in my house and stuff like that. So when the door rings or something like that, or somebody comes to the front door, like UPS or something like that, I open the door. Normally it's without a shirt on, and then I'm like, oh, I feel like an asshole opening this with. Like I feel. Like a douche, I feel really douchey doing it, but it's just how I normally just walk around,
Because it's almost like you have a costume of muscles.
I guess.
A lot of women do this.
I'm just shocked that you're concerned that you look like a douche when you drive a tampon car.
That's all for sure. Deep down, I'm not a douche. Well, I'm not that douchey. I don't like showing off and being like, "Oh, look at me! Look what I'm not like that." That has nothing to do with it. That's to see little kids go, "Oh, yeah, cool!" And I rev my engine. I get off on that. That's cool.
He does it to impress little kids.
Weird.
He gets off on impressing kids.
Don't you? You're making it weird. I would go a step further. Who doesn't get off on impressing kids?
But I know the thing is, I'm not doing it to look cool. I know that it looks douchey and it's kind of the parody of itself.
Kids.
I understand that
we don't, but we wouldn't be opposed to it because impressing people is the goal of life.
But that brings up a good question. Can you enjoy douchey things and not be a douche?
Absolutely.
Of course you can.
100%.
And I think it's our fault as society for labeling people douches.
It's the yuck and yum thing.
Because they enjoy douchey things.
I mean to Star Wars people, and I've deemed it nerd, but
you watch Mandalorian.
I don't really care. I think you enjoy what you want to enjoy, but it's not fun for me to come on here and not have an opinion about it, so unfortunately I'm going to go that direction.
Like what if you were nicest guy in the world, but you just enjoyed like you full affliction, pointy boots.
I know those guys.
Gigantic truck.
We know one.
Like Monster Energy drink.
We recently worked with a guy who is the nicest human being in the world. I'm sending it to you telepathically. He's the nicest person in the world, extremely successful at what he does.
Oh yeah,
and he dresses this way. And he will never stop dressing this way. And again, he's the nicest human being on the planet.
You're right. And society looks at that and then
they do.
And then puts a personality type
it's
to
not
that.
Fair.
It isn't fair.
It's not fair.
I think Seth, you get it all the time, right? Because people assume that you're this workout MMA, with the car you drive. They label you right off the bat.
Right. Yeah, they're only half right.
Yeah. Then they'd be like, "Oh my God, he's just a crazy paranoid hypochondriac."
Most of the email I get about you, if I'm just being honest, are people that are like, "Oh man, I thought he was a douche, but he's not a douche," and now I just feel really sorry for him. Because they're like he's tortured. They was because they're like
now they feel sorry.
He needs help.
They are. They're concerned about you, dude. I have had no shortage of four different doctors, like mental health doctors, email me and say some therapy would be good for him.
Dr. Singh?
No. She read the one in the air. Remember the big one?
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, like this. Sorry. I'm just saying. We have a lot of listeners, and they hear these things and they dig in. They're like, douche, not a douche. Oh, crazy.
It's worse
crazy.
Now. So. This Saturday, show up right at 11.
Get there early.
11:05.
Yeah, 11:05. You might miss the samurai accident.
Yeah.
Free unlimited parking at some parking lot right there.
Right there, Shine and Woodward.
Yeah.
Or the Jungle. I'll go park at the Jungle. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to be there for a demonstration.
You're going to be dancing at Bruno Mars.
DJ, some avant-garde.
This one's an ice cold Tom's out there dancing.
I prefer
straight masterpiece.
I prefer the God.
What?
The balloons in the background. What's the balloon? The chick was topless.
No, Robin Thicke.
Robin Thicke. What's that song?
The one that you got sued.
Blurred Lines.
No,
Blurred Lines.
There.
Oh, wow.
Will you play? Can you tell your DJ to play Blurred Lines?
You can tell
That's
him.
like 12 years old.
He's taking requests. You guys can tell him.
2013, Blurred Lines.
I want Blurred Lines. I want that other song.
And now, to open the dojo, it's Tom dressed as Robin Thicke, lip-syncing Blurred Lines from 2013. And here comes Dan wearing a Pharrell hat.
I want this Some Kind of Sadness, like the
Some Kind of Sadness.
Some kind of sadness. Oh, there will be sadness.
Do you know that song?
Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? What were you doing?
Did you ever sing a song and say the song's called Some
certain type of sadness? You know that?
Oh.
You know?
Yes.
I want that song.
Okay.
I don't know.
Somebody that you used to know?
Yes.
Gaultier.
Yeah.
Gaultier.
That's 20 years old.
Oh, my God.
That was my second.
Wow.
That's when I broke up with my second fiance. And I remember playing that over
You're
and
standing in the
over.
back of Smoothie King?
Yeah, no, that was the first
Can
one.
we
The
do
second
Name
one.
That Tune with Tom, where I just get to guess the songs that he does?
How'd you guess that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
And now to open the dojo, it's Tom Van dressed as Robin Thicke and Dan wearing a Pharrell hat singing Gaultier is someone that I used to know. I'll never mind about me out.
That was a good song.
All right. We'll see you on Saturday.
Well, yeah, go to karateoforlando.com if you want to get the address.
There you go.
Karateoforlando.com.
Karateoforlando.com and a bye-bye.